Hi guys, so as you can see from my title, I'm going to show you how to create a design for a simple cake topper using a Cricut design space. So the first thing you're going to need to do is to write the text that you want. So the one we're going to do is going to be similar to the one that I have put as the thumbnail. So it will say happy birthday, love. As you can see, it is not the same font as the one that I've used. So I'm going to change the font here. So if you go to font and I type in October, then there's two here. So the one that I want to use is October Twilight. So you can see that it's obviously spaced out. So that's not how we're going to leave it. I just need to check on the spacing of the letters as they are. So the letter space tool is up here. You can see that the dot for the I might come off slightly. So I want to just move that as it is. But at the moment, all of the letters are grouped. So I want to ungroup them. So if I go to ungroup over here, and I just want to make that space a little bit smaller. So I'm just going to highlight the letters up to the R and just move them slightly that way, so that it's a little bit more joined over here. Okay, and then I just check over all the rest of them and they all look fine to me. So now that I've ungrouped everything, that means everything's just completely separate. So if I just put it back, now I'm going to leave happy where it is. Birthday, if I just highlight all of those together and I move them up here, so now I have birthday just underneath happy, and it's in the center approximately. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then if I highlight LOVE, and I'm just going to put that up here, so you just move it around just where you want it. Okay, I'm going to zoom in slightly so that we can see a little bit better. Okay, so you can see that there's a little bit of a bump here, so that's because of the H. So I'm just going to move that along as well. Okay, so once everything is where you want it, then as you could see from the thumbnail, I have used stars to just put in the gaps. So if I was to cut this as it is, it's going to be a little bit flimsy because we're using cardstock. So if I was to cut this as it is, I would only have the happy and the birthday part joined by the middle, so that would just be flopping about, and so would that. So we don't want that, and obviously the love wouldn't be very secure either, because that part would just kind of like drift away from the rest of the cake topper. So the other thing we want to make sure is that wherever you want to put your stick, which we will check afterwards, that there is a line kind of through here where we can put it where it's not that obvious. So you want the P, the line for the P and the line for the H to be kind of like in line with each other, and then if you wanted the O, that the thicker part of the O to be underneath it, then that would just be a good place to put it, so that you could put the bamboo stick behind it and it wouldn't show too much. So now we're going to add, you can add stars or you can add hearts or whatever you want. So I'm going to add some stars. Now the stars that I used in the cake topper shown in the thumbnail, they're actually hollow stars. So you can find that if you just Google if you just Google hollow stars, you will actually find a hollow star. But you can make it on Design Space as well. So if I just take this star and I right click and duplicate that, and then I can put them on top of each other. Either I can make one of them smaller like that, and I can just highlight both of them and do a line center so that they're right in the middle, and then highlight both of them and then slice. That would give me these extra bits, but it would also give me a hollow star that I could use to kind of join these all together like so. Or another way to do this is if you were to just get a star shape like that and then use the offset tool. So offset, it just gives you either an outline, like a shape that's bigger than the shape that you have put, the original shape that you're using. So for example, this is a star. I have put an offset of 0.635 centimeters, so it will create an outline of 0.635 centimeters around that shape. That's why it's curved around the edges, because it kind of curves the 0.635 around this section here. Or you could go backwards and it creates like a smaller shape inside that shape by whatever measurement it is there. So if I was to do the smaller one and I just did it that much, approximately minus 0.6 centimeters, and I apply, now I have a star that is smaller than my original, and I can do the same thing. So I just highlight both and then slice. This would be ideal if it wasn't a star that you were using. So for example, if it was, I don't know, an image of a cat or an outline of a cat, and you just wanted the outline and you didn't want the actual full cat, then you could put the image of the cat, and then you could do the offset for it, and then you could slice it so that you would end up with just the outline. Okay, so what we have now is we have this, we'll just use the original one we have. So we've got this star which is hollow, and I'm going to duplicate that so that I can put it over here. Now just note that I am using these corners to my advantage, so I want it to be as secure as possible. So I'm having the star touching this part of the Y and this part of the A and this part of the Y for happy, and I can rotate it around if I want to, but I just want it in a position where it's basically touching as many parts of my topper as possible, and that just makes it more secure and easier for me once I've made it. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate that again and put it down here. I might make this one a bit smaller. Okay, and then because I've done two up here and one down here, I just want to add one up here. So we don't really need one on this side because you can see this is actually joined already, but that B is not joined, so I'll just put one there. Okay, so we've done that now, and if you just need to fiddle around with the letters, you can, and just make sure that there's nothing loose that's just going to fall off once the cut is complete. So for example, the dot for the eye, you don't want that just loose, because then you won't have any dot for your eye. Okay, so the last thing that I normally do before I put it all together is I make like a fake bamboo stick, because I use bamboo sticks for this. So I'm just going to make it brown. Oh, to do that, by the way, I just got a square, and if you try to increase the size or decrease the size, it will automatically be locked, so you have to unlock that and then make it like a stick. Okay, so I've got my fake bamboo stick, and I'm just going to put it here. Now you can see that if I was to put this straight, let me just send it to the back, so just right click and send to back. Then it's going to be right in the middle of my O, and ideally we don't want that, because then it's just going to look like an eyesore. So either I could rotate this stick when I am putting it on so that it looks like that, which would make it slightly diagonal, or alternatively you can move your letters around. Okay, so I don't mind having mine slightly diagonal. Sometimes it adds character, so I'll just leave it like that, and then we don't need that stick anymore. Okay, so now I'm just going to highlight everything. Now, as you can see from this side, you have all of these cuts that are separate. Now, what would happen is if you press make it and you send that to your printer, the Cricut machine, then what would end up happening is it will cut around the Y, and it will slice here because that's part of the Y, and it will slice here. The star, it would slice around the star, etc. So you wouldn't want any of that, because you wouldn't end up with one cake topper. You'd end up with lots of separate pieces, lots of separate cuts. So when you highlight everything together, and this is something that you can't undo. If you save it and then you want to come back and change it, you can't do it. So if you do this, it's not it's only recommended to do once you have completely finished your project, and maybe make a copy of it and then weld. So weld is down here, so I just press weld, and what that does is now you can see that there's no outlines for each separate letter. All of them are just merged together, and now you have one piece, and you can see on this side it's a basic cut, and it is just one big cut that it will do. So cutting this would probably take approximately, I don't know, 5 minutes, maybe less, depending on how intricate your text is. Okay, so the size for the toppers that I make, normally I make them around 18 to 19 centimeters wide, because this one is quite short. So here you've got 13.723. So you don't want it any smaller than like 12 centimeters high. If you're using this for a cake that is 6 to 8 inches in diameter. So I would keep this, maybe I would change this to about 18.5 centimeters, and that makes it just under 13 centimeters high. But it all depends on how your cake looks and what your design is for that. So that's it. So once that's done, you would just press make it, and it will send it to your machine, and then you would have a lovely cake topper. And that is one of the simpler designs, but I do have more intricate designs that I can show you how to do. So if you would like to see more videos on how to use Cricut Design Space and all the different tools and all the different things that you can make with it, then please like, share and subscribe to this channel, and I look forward to making my next video. Thank you very much. Bye.